Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be taking us on how to draft our basic bodies. And in drafting our basic bodies, there are various tools we need to keep or we need to gather in order to help us in drafting. We have our pattern making paper, we have our armhole curve, our pencil, our tape, then our ruler. So these are basically things we are going to use. Then our table. So the first thing we are going to do is to measure down 2 inch from top of the paper. Measure down 2 inch. Measure it down. Then with your ruler, trace out the line. Trace out the line. Then mark its shoulder line. So that's our shoulder line. That's basically from where we use in measuring down, bringing down our measurements. So that's like a base for us now. So the next thing you're going to bring down now is back length, shoulder to waist. So our shoulder to waist for the back is 15 inch. Shoulder to waist for our back is 15 inch. Shoulder to waist for our back is 15 inch. So we trace out the line. Trace out the line. Then label it waist line. So the next thing we are going to do is to bring out the hip line, the hip depth, yes, from waistline down, 8 inch down. As I'll get our hip depth. So these horizontal lines will help us to mark our body measurements. These lines you're seeing, they are basically lines that will help us to mark our measurements. So that's the hip line. So the next thing now is to get our underarm line. Now, getting our underarm line is just the shoulder line, the shoulder to waist line, which is 15 inch. That's the back length divided by 2 will give us 7.5. 15 divided by 2 give us 7.5. So now I'm marking out the underarm line. So that's the underarm line. That's the underarm line. So I use my ruler now to trace out the line. Then label it underarm line. Underarm line. So the next thing is to get the across back. The across back now is gotten by the 7.5 inch we got for the underarm. We'll divide it by 3. Dividing it by 3 will give us 2.5. 2.5. So we'll mark out our 2.5 line, horizontal line. As the 2.5 horizontal line. Then using our ruler, we'll trace out the line. So this is me using a thin line now to indicate the inch from shoulder to waist, which is 15 inch. That's the back length, for the back length, shoulder to waist, 15 inch. Then from the waist to under arm now, which is 7.5. Like I said, the shoulder to waist, which is 15 inch, divided by 2 give us 7.5. So that's it, 7.5. Now the underarm to the across back line is 2.5. From waist now down to the hip line is 8 inch. It's just an indication. That's 8 inch. So we'll label it center back. So this is our center back. Center back. So we are actually working on our back measurement first. So the next thing you are going to do is to start placing the measurements, the body measurement now. So we'll work with the shoulder. The shoulder is 7.5. The backward measurements for the back shoulder is 7.5. Remember our back circumference, sorry, our shoulder circumference is 15 actually. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So 7.5 for the back shoulder. So I've placed 7.5 there. And I mark it 7.5. So the next thing now, the across back. I didn't indicate. So now I'm writing the across back there. That's the across back line. So we'll mark out 7 inch. And this across back is gotten from the across back and across chest, which is the front and the back, which is 14 inch. 14 divided by 2 give us the 7 for the across back, 7 inch. So now this is the bust, trying to bring out the bust line. So I mark out the bust. Our back bust is 9.75. 9.75 for the back. Then the waist, moving over to the waist. Our back waist, moving over to the back waist. Our waist circumference is actually 31. Sorry, my waist circumference is actually 31 inch. So divide by 4 will be 7.75. So since I'm deducting 0.25 from the back, our back is not the same actually. So I'm removing 0.25 now from there. So 7.75 minus 0.25 will give you 7.5. So I marked out 7.5. Then for the dart 1 inch, I add 1 inch there. So which will give us 8.5. Okay, that's the dart. Okay, that's the main measurement, which is 7.75. So the next thing I'm going to do is the back, to bring out half from the back. Remember, our back is not straight. Okay, it's just like a boot that sinks inside. So it's just logic. So I'm bringing out half inch from there. I'm taking the half inch forward now. So it will not affect the measurement since I'm bringing out half inch from there. So I'm taking that half inch, now I'm adding it to the main measurement now. So adding it up there now is plus the 8.5 now give us 9 inch. Right. So the total now is 9 inch for the waist. Then for the hip now, going over to the hip. The hip is actually, for the back hip is 9.5. The hip circumference for both the front and the back is 40. Divide by 4 is 10. Then we'll subtract 0.25, okay, from the 10. Will give us 9.75. All right, 9.75, okay. So remember, our hip does not have that. So it's just the hip measurement now, the back hip. So now I'm tracing out the line, connecting the lines now, connecting the line from hip to the waist, from the waist now to the underarm, which is our bust. So the next thing I'm going to do is to use the armhole curve now to trace out the armhole. Trace out the armhole from the underarm line down to the across back. From the across back now to the shoulder. That's how we'll get our armhole line, or rather armhole curve line. So you can see that's our armhole. So the next thing I'll do now is to bring out the neck. I'm using 3 inch by 1 inch for the back. 3 inch by 1 inch. So this body is basically like a kind of, will I say, it's just a base for you. So when you want to create a design from here now, you can actually trace out to another paper. Then you can start creating your designs from there. So now I'm bringing down the shoulder by 1 inch. Bringing down the shoulder by 1 inch. Then I'll trace it out. Okay, connect from the shoulder to the neck. Then the 1 inch I took down, I'm going to add it up again to the underarm. Take it to the underarm. Then reconnect the armhole now. So this is our new armhole. That's our new armhole. So okay, you can see what is going on there. So now that's ½ inch I took in for the back, now for the back waist. So I'm going to connect a line from the across back down there to the waistline. Okay, you can see what is happening. Like I said, our back is not straight, rather it's just like a boot. Okay, that's the logic. So now this is me bringing out using my bust radius now up 3.5 inch now, so it will not meet with, will not connect. I'm not connecting the line down to the hip, so it won't affect the hip line. So you can see the way the back is. So the next thing now is to bring out our dart. Bringing out our dart, we'll use our bust radius now. Bust radius now 3.5. And the bust radius is gotten from a bust span, which is 7 inch. 7 inch divided by 2 will give 3.5. Bust span varies from bodies. Okay, there are some persons that their bust span is 8 inch, some person 9 inch. So when you divide like 8 inch, it give you 4. So when you divide the 9, it give you 4.5. So different bodies. So our bodies are not just the same. So this one is actually my measurement. I'm using my measurement to draft. This is my measurement. So this is me bringing out the dart, 1 inch dart from the waist. Okay. So I connect the line. So that's all about the back. Just connect the line. Okay. From waist to underarm. Then take in 1 inch. Like I said, you don't want to tamper with the hip line. So just taking in 1 inch, then connecting the line down to that particular place marked. Well, this is basically the back. This is our back now. We're done with the back. I'm drafting the back. So that's all about the back. So moving forward to our front. Sorry, the video just had to cut like that. I don't know why. So moving over to the front. Moving over to the front now. The same thing we did to the back. That's exactly the same thing we're doing to the front. The only difference now is the the measurement. Our front length is 16 while our back length is 15. So now this is me bringing out the front length, and from the shoulder, from shoulder to waist, which is 16 inch. So I trace out the line, tracing out the line now. So I'll mark there. That's the waistline. So now this is me bringing out the hip line. This is a hip line. Hip line from waist to the hip is 8 inch. That's a hip depth. So I mark waistline. That's the waistline. This is the hip line. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring out the underarm line. So the underarm line is gotten by dividing the front length, which is 16 inch by 2. So give us 8 inch. So now this is the 8 inch now. So use the ruler to trace out the line. Using the ruler to trace out the line and mark it on the arm line. So the next thing I'm going to do is to bring out the across chest. Remember the back, call the back across back. So this one is the across chest. So across chest is just dividing the 8 inch now by 3. The 8 inch by 3, which will give us 2.75. How do we get the 8 inch? The 8 inch is gotten by the shoulder to waist, which is 16 inch, divided by 2 is 8 inch. That's our underarm. Then on the underarm, from the underarm now you get the across chest, which is the 8 inch divided by 3 will give you 2.75, which is the across chest. So this is me using a thin line now to indicate from shoulder to waist, which is 16 inch. Now the waist to the hip, which is 8 inch. So that's on the arm to the across chest, 2.7 inch. Okay. So like I said before, the horizontal lines are just lines we use towards mark our body. So we need to get these lines first in order to be able to mark our body's measurement. These lines are as important as the body's measurements. So without these lines, it will be a little bit difficult for you to mark out your body's measurements. So the next thing I'm doing here is to bring out my bust point from shoulder down 10 inch. My bust point is 10 inch from shoulder down. So now I mark the shoulder. Sorry, I mark the bust point using my ruler. I trace out the line. Then I indicated the bust point. So that's the bust point line. So from shoulder down 10 inch. So we are done with the horizontal line. So the next thing now is to mark out our bodies like we did to the back. The shoulder is 7.5, the front shoulder 7.5 inch. Across chest is 7 inch. Then the bust now, the front bust is 10.25. Like I said, the 25 is gotten from the back. The back that we deducted 0.25 from the back. So these are the parts we deduct 0.25 from. The bust, the waist, the hip, okay? So now we added the 0.25 to the front. So for the waist now, the front waist is 8 inch. The back waist was 7.75 because we deducted 0.25. Now we added it to the front. So the front is 8 inch. Like I said, our front and our back, they're actually not the same. The front is, okay, we assume that the front is bigger than the back. But in some cases, there are some dresses that you make both equal. So when you're making a fitted dress, make sure that your front and your back not the same. You're making a fitted and a tight fitted dress, your front and your back are not meant to be the same. So now I'm done with all that. So now it's the armhole now. I don't know why the video is cutting though, but this is the armhole. Okay, sorry about that. This is the, but it's still the same thing. The hip line has been, okay, I've already indicated the hip line, but it's the same thing I did to the back. That's what I did to the front. So now it's the armhole, tracing out the armhole. So this is me marking out the neck. The neck, for the back I used 3 by 1 inch, 3 inch by 1 inch, but the front I'm using 3 by 3, 3 by 3. Like I said, this is not constant, okay? But when you're making design, this is just like a base. This body is not like a base now. So when you want to make your styles and whatever, it's just trace out, trace out from the bodies up. Then start manipulating the the bodies, okay, to create your designs. So I'm bringing now down the shoulder. It's 1 inch. Same thing I did to the back. So I bring down the 1 inch, then take the 1 inch back to the underarm. Now I added it up there. Then use my armhole curve now to use the armhole curve to retrace the armhole line, right? So the next thing now is to get our darts. So in doing that, so first of all, mark out our bust radius, which is my bust radius, which is 3.5, okay, for the front 3.5. So I use a pencil now to trace out the line. That's a guide for me to bring out my darts. Okay. So from the waist now, I mark out 1 inch, half inch for the other side, half inch to the other side, which is 1 inch. So I connect them now from the bust line to the waistline. It's same to the other side too, from bust to waist. So in order for me not to tamper with the hip line. So I take in 1 inch. Okay, then from there now I connect down to my waistline. Connect down to my waistline. Okay, you can see. So that's it. So the next thing now is to get our bust dart. So in order to get the bust dart now, just to measure the back and the front now, you can see in the video the difference there. That's what we're going to use to create the bust dart. So the difference there is just half inch, because the front is 7 inch with the measurement, then the back is 6.5, so it's half inch. So that's how we create the bust dart. That's the bust dart. So that's basically how to draft our bodies. How to draft our bodies. Then I label the center front and CCF for the center front. For the back is CB. So that's all for the bodies. That's all for the bodies. So if you enjoyed this video, just give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. See you in the next video.